This week on Pop of Culture, we face our fears of the dark.
It is the darkest part of the forest. If you just stumbled in here and you didn't know this is part of the exhibition, you'd probably think we're closed in here.
How an interactive exhibit is teaching kids and adults to stay curious when the sun goes down.
And we'll invent an imaginary friend in this week's Beautiful Thing. That's coming up.
Support for Pop of Culture comes from you. You've probably heard that Congress has defunded public media. For Ball State Public Media, that's 40% of our funding, about $1.4 million. So if you value this program, created by and focused on folks in your community, then now's the time to step up. This show will not exist without you. Become a monthly donor now at indianapublicradio.org.
From IPR, this is Pop of Culture. I'm Jen Blackmer.
And I'm DuQuette. Coming up, we do yoga with an imaginary turtle. There's context, I promise.
Yes, but we're going to start today in the forest. Pop of Culture on the road this week, and we're here at Minnetrista Museum and Gardens. And even though it's afternoon, it's also nighttime. Yeah, we are here in the exhibit Goodnight Forest. And I'm here with my new friend, Max. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Max Fetchenhauer. I'm the Daily Experience Manager here at Minnetrista Museum and Gardens.
Excellent. And Max is going to take us on a tour. Now, before we go any further, it looks like I have to pack a bag.
Yes,
you
do.
In order to experience the Goodnight Forest exhibit. So we have here some maps.
Going into the forest, you have to be prepared. Going into the forest, the best thing to have is a backpack packed.
Absolutely, yes.
So we have a few maps over here that can kind of lead you through the forest. We have a few guides.
I'm gonna grab my backpack. Here we go. Put a map inside. And a children's animal guide.
We have an animal guide. Here we go.
Let's see what else we have over here. A compass, that's important.
You can get a compass. You can also get a handkerchief to wear while you're in the forest.
And
most importantly,
flashlight.
It is nighttime, so you'll want a flashlight.
All right. Shall we?
Let's go.
Let's go explore. So the first thing I'd like to know is can you give me a little bit of information about just the exhibit as a whole, what inspired the exhibit, and why Night Forest?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my favorite things about this exhibition is how family focused it is. And by families, we really do mean families, like kids and adults.
Yeah.
I myself am an adult, and I love this exhibition.
I know. And as soon as I walked in, I'm like, I just kind of want to jump and play. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great, and it's so cozy. And one of my favorite things about this exhibition is just how physical it is. There are things to interact and play with pretty much everywhere you look in here, whether it's right as soon as you walk in and you see the campfire right in front of you where you can roast a marshmallow or a hot dog, or even if you want to go do some shadow puppets in the tents, which is super fun. I know a lot of the guides on the guide team here have been loving to do shadow puppet shows. We even have printed out some campfire stories and some campfire songs to sing along with guests while they're in here.
That's incredible. Yeah. So the first thing I noticed when I walked in, so you mentioned the campfire, which is incredibly inviting. The food is not real. It is very tactile, but it's not real. That could be very sticky with marshmallows, right? So, but the other thing that really caught my attention is this first thing here on the left when you come in here, which is called Firefly Meadow. Yeah, and this is where radio, I don't think, does it justice, right? Explain what is happening here.
I sure can. I'm glad you brought this up because this is my favorite part of this exhibition.
I think it's probably mine too.
The way this works is this is an interactive game for kids. As you can see, the floor is lighting up with many LED lights of different colors. But we have these little clusters that are lighting up around here. And what happens is you want to jump on them, and then you'll see a little flash of light, and that cluster will move along the board, and you want to follow it along the way. So I can show it, I can demonstrate it for you guys right now. So we'll do it on this one. Get a little ding, and it moves over there.
Oh my gosh.
And now you gotta move over to this one.
It's kind of like hopscotch, sort of, but oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And I can say that I play on this all the time with the guide team here.
Sure.
At least once a day while we're open. And me and the guides have definitely found a few hidden Easter eggs that you will have to discover with play.
Okay.
On the Firefly Meadow.
All right, yes. All right, moving over here, we have the caretaker's hut on this side of our forest adventure.
Yes.
And we have some animals, lots of information about animals. So it looks like this is a place where you can come and do some science and some exploration, yeah?
Yeah, so this is, like I said, this is a family exhibition. This is also, we try to focus on a lot of educational parts of our exhibitions as well. So if you look through here, we have all sorts of, we have animals, we have recreations of different skulls from different animals that you can look at, as well as over here you can look at more taxidermy animals. We have little cards that have, you know, fun facts about different animals. So this talks about owl talons and about how owl talons are sharp, so they can grab and carry up to 3 times their body weight, which is pretty heavy. So this looks like it's the owl deck, but we also have some stuff about like raccoons.
And these are all animals that they could potentially see at nighttime around here.
At home.
We have an owl family that lives in the woods behind our house, as well as many fireflies. And so it's really great to see some owl representation here going on.
Awesome.
Excellent. And then, of course, we have the woodland scat chart.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
We do. We have a few models of woodland scat as well over here, if you look, which kids find very entertaining.
I can imagine they do.
It's good to know, because maybe sometimes you can find some woodland scat in your backyard, and maybe you'll find out what's living near you.
And then finally, in this part of the exhibit, we have 2 tents, Starry Night Campsite, and inside it looks like you can do shadow puppets.
You can.
How fun!
You can, and I'd be more. I'll show you in this tent over here. So if you can just crawl in over here. And you don't have to be.
Oh, check it.
The one thing I do love about these shadow puppets is you don't have to be like skilled to like, you know, make like a dog or anything. We make it very accessible.
Wonderful.
And we have these guys right here.
Does that look like a monkey? I think that's a monkey.
This is actually a mouse.
A mouse. All I saw was the big tail.
But you're close. You're close. No
worries.
But
it's
let's
a good
see.
thing I'm not being quizzed on this. Now that I know that is a beaver. Yes.
Very
All
good.
right.
Very good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How fun is this?
You learn something new in every single one of our exhibitions.
Yes, you do.
With our shadow puppets, we also have different books. So this one's all about walking around with a flashlight in the woods. And looking for critters, kind of something similar to what you're doing in here.
Of course.
So we always invite guests to come in here, have a cozy time, and we have
there's
pillows
to relax, and then there's a whole basket full of books.
We even have a little instructional booklet on how to do shadow puppets. So let's see if I can do. Dog one looks the easiest.
Yep, that's a dog right there.
Right
Nicely
there.
done, Max. Great job.
And so that's one thing. While it's fun to have an instructional booklet to show kids how to do it, it also just makes the exhibit that much more accessible to people.
Totally. And then I'm sure kids are making up their own shadow animals and stories as you go. That's pretty great. Now, you mentioned that there's a book, Things to Do with a Flashlight. We're actually going to put some of that stuff into practice here next, in the next room. So at the beginning, we were told that we needed a flashlight, right?
Yep.
And so here's where that's going to be super important.
One of the biggest things that I really like about this exhibition is it's all about overcoming your fear of the dark for kids.
Okay.
And that's what this whole second gallery is about.
Excellent.
That's the reason why we have these flashlights.
Amazing. And there's some footsteps that we're supposed to follow, so let's follow them.
Come this way.
Okay, this is called Twilight Trail, and it is dark.
Yeah, it is the darkest part of the forest. If you just stumbled in here and you didn't know this is part of the exhibition, you'd probably think we're closed in here because it is so dark. But you can turn your flashlights on and you can search. So we have some more taxidermy animals that you can look at. We have a whole owl case.
Oh, look at that. It's my friend the possum. Possums are great, actually.
They're really nice.
They're really great.
We have a case of owls over here. And one of my favorite things that we have in here is we have interactive elements that are triggered by the light from your flashlight.
Wow.
So if you follow over here, we have all sorts of cardboard cutouts of animals, or not cardboard, wooden cutouts of animals. And we have some of them, like these rabbits over here. If you shine your flashlight on them, see if we can get it to work. They'll actually duck and hide from the light.
Gosh, how awesome.
And if you keep it lit for a little bit, you might see them peek back out to see if they're safe. And they are.
Look at that.
And they hide again. Over here we...
And I see some raccoons. Here's a little shrew. Ah.
It's very, very cute and very fun.
And I do want to mention that this is an Indiana artist created these pieces, right? So that it has a sort of a hand-drawn, hand-painted kind of feel to it, which is awesome.
Her name is Penelope Dulligan.
Yeah.
She is the artist.
It feels like you're inside a storybook, actually. Yeah.
It does.
Great.
And one of my favorite things about this is you can only find this if you're like just looking for it and like trying to discover things, which it really encourages that curiosity and imagination that like the kids that we want in this exhibit to have.
Excellent.
We have more things like we have a light over here. If you shine your flashlight on it,
Oh yeah, it lights
it's a little
up.
brighter.
Excellent.
We have a board over here that kind of explains like reflective eyes that animals have.
And you can guess what kind of an animal. Look at that. There's an owl. Yeah.
Then we have more animals over here that will make noises if you shine your light on them. So we have, let's see, I think that the badger is the funniest.
Of course it is.
See if we can get him to. Yeah, there he is.
I think I heard that in the woods the other day, so now I know what it is.
We also have frog should make a noise. And not all of these animals have sensors in them, so it's again kind of that sense of discovery when you find one that works.
And there's a beautiful sort of moon that kind of gives some illumination, but a gorgeous sort of glow.
And this projection does work through all of the moon phases as well. So right now it's pretty bright in here, relatively speaking. All the lights are off except for that moon because it is a full moon right now. So this is the brightest it'll be in this room without flashlights.
Yeah. Well, this is an incredible experience, and it reminds me again of how sort of collaborative this whole thing is, right? You have sight and sound and immersion, and it's just this glorious kind of interactive, immersive feel to it, right?
Yeah.
And all types of different artists are at work here. You have sound artists, you have the visual aspect of it, and the experience it's guided, you said? So when you come in, you have guides working with you? Or?
All of our experiences here are self-led, although we will have a guide stationed in here to help you pack that bag and get you set on their way, and they're always here for to be a helping hand if you have any questions.
But part of it is just to let the visitors kind of explore the forest at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And luckily, this exhibition is going to be here a while. The last day it'll be here is November 2nd of this year.
All right.
So you still got a good amount of time to come here and check it out.
And it has the feel of a balmy summer night. So as fall begins to hit, and if we start getting a little, little nostalgic for summer, we can come experience forest at night. That's awesome. Thanks, Max.
Of course.
While we were at Minnetrista, we also toured an exhibit about narwhals. That exhibit is in Muncie through September 28th. I'm Jen Blackmer.
And I'm Kara DuQuette. A Muncie fifth grader was named the grand prize winner of a national presidential history competition. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Hannah Holtz has more on the contest, led by the Benjamin Harrison Presidential Site.
Project POTUS challenges middle schoolers across the country to create a short, engaging video about a president of their choice. For his grand prize-winning submission, 12-year-old Peter Guestwicki from Muncie created a 60-second stop-motion video about President Theodore Roosevelt.
I really enjoyed cutting the paper cutouts and drawing everything. And then when I was animating it, I laughed a few times. I really enjoyed it.
Project POTUS fellow Molly Boser says students from over 30 states sent in contest submissions. Winners were selected by a citizen jury, including college professors, media professionals, and history experts.
At a time where I think history is not as represented in classrooms as it used to be, we really just hope that Project POTUS and all of our programs here at the Benjamin Harrison Presidential Site will encourage students to engage with history.
Submissions for the 6th year of Project POTUS will open in November. I'm Hannah Holtz.
To watch Peter's grand prize winning video, visit the Benjamin Harrison Presidential Site website at bhpsite.org.
It's time for a beautiful thing from the weekly online magazine called Beautiful Things, featuring essays less than 250 words. And this beautiful thing is thanks to Bex Hoffer, a writer from Indianapolis. Welcome, Bex.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
We're happy to have you here with us. Bex is going to share their beautiful thing entitled Things Not Always Seen.
Things not always seen. I go to a potluck one autumn evening, glad for the chance to bond with my fellow yoga goers, people I greet each week but don't know well. The bonfire is blazing when I arrive. Later, back home, I will relish the wood smoke lingering on my skin, my clothes, sweet balm of October. We talk, and I savor the tidbits I pick up about each person's life. One knows the taste of her family's olive trees by heart back home in Greece. Another has synesthesia. He shows us a painting of his name with the right colors, a name that, being trans, he chose himself, able to consider both palette and sound. Another wistfully recalls that they never had imaginary friends as a kid, not because they didn't want to, but didn't know how. I think back to the dozens of owls, possums, and dragons I knew as a child, each garrulous and brave. What is this? To have none? To grow up having none? I announce that I just found a talking turtle. Chance, I say, lifting the invisible creature. He'd love to be your friend. Chance laughs and looks from me to my outstretched hands. Then they grow serious. I'm honored, they say, and with great care pick up the turtle and sit him on their lap. The rest of the evening, I remember he's there. We see each other at yoga sometimes, and I ask, "How's your turtle?" They smile and say he's with us, doing yoga too.
Oh, Bex, thank you so much for sharing that. First of all, the image of a turtle doing yoga is probably the best thing I have heard in a very long time. That's incredible. And I think the sensory presence in this piece is really, really powerful, which of course connects to the title of Things Not Always Seen. What inspired this piece for you?
So about 3 years ago, I started going to this free queer and trans yoga and meditation group that met by a lake under the trees in a public park. And it was such a lovely group of people. Sometimes we would have a potluck or something outside of yoga. And this one particular evening, this bonfire, it was just one of those sparkling, wide-ranging conversations with this group of people that maybe didn't all know each other very well, but were comfortable with each other because of the community that we shared. And something I've always loved asking is what imaginary friends people had as a child, because they have such different answers.
That's a great question, really.
It is. I love it. I love all the different ways that people have experienced that. And at the end of the evening, there were just these couple of really special moments that have stuck with me.
Yeah, and I love how, and this has become, I think, a common theme in this series as we've spoken with writers who write these sort of short micro essays that really do stem from these powerful moments we have, right? And how this form in particular can help us save those moments and share those moments and connect with others about what those moments are. Yeah. You mentioned synesthesia. And before we hit record here, we were kind of talking about that at length. And you said it was something that is interesting to you. Yes?
Yes. Yeah. So I read a book when I was young called A Mango-Shaped Space.
It's a wonderful book.
Yeah, we both read it. Yeah. And the main character has synesthesia. And that was when I was introduced to the concept. And I was just like, wow, that's so cool. I wish I had that.
I know,
and
right?
this person at this bonfire was the first person I had ever actually met who has synesthesia. And I was just tickled and mind boggled and was peppering him with questions, which he was all happy to answer. Mm-hmm. And an earlier version of this piece was almost exclusively about him and his experience.
Right. Yeah.
As it morphed and grew, it ended up more about the turtle. But he had so many interesting things to say about, like, when he was a kid, it used to be stronger and has sort of faded as he grew older. But when he was little, he was in the car with his mom listening to music and he couldn't remember the name of a song. But he's like, could you put on that one song that's really blue with the one purple part?
Right.
And his mom had no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And that was just so neat to me that people have different ways of experiencing the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what, to me at least, and you mentioned that the piece kind of evolved to include the turtle as well. But my experience of your piece is that that's all very connected, right? That it's the power that we have in thinking about how we experience the world. Right. And that's where an imaginary friend can be something important for us, as well as a name, which you mentioned, the ability to choose a name based on the full palette of experience. Yeah. So, Bex, did you have any imaginary friends as a child?
Why, Jen, of course I did. And that's why it was so strange to hear what Chance said. They never had imaginary friends, but they wanted one, and they didn't know where they came. Like, how do I get one? They were jealous of the other kids who talked about it, but they didn't know how to make one. And for me, I lived in a world of make-believe my whole childhood. I voraciously read fantasy fiction, 1 or 2 books a week my whole childhood, and I had so many imaginary friends. They were all animals and they could all talk. So it was like horses and birds and cats and owls. And like I had an opossum named Ollie who would...
Of course, that's an awesome name.
Who would keep me entertained during class when I was in elementary school. It would be like, oh, I have to sit for so long, I'm bored. And then he would scamper up onto my desk and keep me entertained. There was also a talking turtle named Katie who lived under my front porch, and she only liked to eat the leaves of a locust tree, which there was one on my walk home from the bus stop. And so I would take a handful of those leaves and walk home and put them under the front porch, and Katie, we never really had long conversations, but she would always say, thank you, it's lunchtime. And so when I conjured this talking turtle for Chance, I sort of imagined that it was her son.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I love that. And what's interesting is you say you don't talk much, or you didn't talk much to Katie, but that may also be connected to how turtles experience time, right?
Sure.
Because I like to, I'm a bird watcher. And what's so interesting to me is when I see a hummingbird and how the hummingbirds sort of dart around, that what might a day be like for a hummingbird, right? That maybe they just experience time differently. And I had imaginary friends too, as well.
Oh, good.
They were more fantasy type. So you mentioned a dragon at one point.
Oh, yes. I had many dragons.
Yeah. And I think that is also indicative of the fact that you are a writer now. That you had such an active imagination as a kid, and I'm sure still do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bex Hoffer works at an environmental nonprofit in Indianapolis. They spend every spare moment salsa dancing, which is a whole other conversation. Their writing has been published in Ball Bearings Magazine, The Broken Plate, Dive In Magazine, and The Odyssey. And they're proud to be a former River Teeth intern.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen.
So happy to have you here, Bex. Thank you. This story comes from IPR's collaboration with River Teeth's Beautiful Things, a weekly magazine of micro-essays. More at riverteethjournal.com. If you're a public media and a barbecue fan, you've seen our next guest's work. Steven Raichlen has written numerous books on barbecue and grilling and is the host of multiple PBS programs on the subject. He'll be in Fort Wayne soon for a special event. More on that in a moment. But right now, Steven Raichlen, we are so happy to welcome you to Pop of Culture.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
And Pop of Culture, of course, all kinds of culture, including one of my favorite experiences, which is eating food. And you have a new book called Project Griddle.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. It was a bit of a departure from my typical barbecue books, but I fell in love with griddling. It was kind of inadvertent, but I think the griddle makes a great adjunct to your grill collection.
And you
I'm not saying I haven't given up grilling. I still am passionate about grilling, but there's some foods that just taste better cooked on a griddle than a grill.
Yeah, and we'll talk about one of those in just a minute. But you said that your book began with a very expensive steak. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So the steak is what's called an A5 Wagyu from Japan. And A5 means it's the richest, most generously marbled steak probably in the whole world. If you were to look at it, it almost looks like a white piece of white lace laid on a red tablecloth. And all that white is marbling. And if you were to try and cook one of those steaks on a conventional grill, the fat would melt and your grill would catch on fire.
Sure, yes.
Believe me, I've tried it and it doesn't.
Several of us have seen that happen. I've seen my husband do that. Yeah, so.
Right. Well, let's not throw husbands under the bus quite just yet. I am also married and also a husband.
Amazing.
Anyway, in Japan, these kinds of steaks would be cooked on what's called a teppan, Teppan, which is a Japanese griddle. And what the griddle does is it sears the outside, it cooks the steak through, the fat doesn't catch on fire because there's no open flame. And you wind up with one of the most spectacularly delicious morsels of meat you can ever imagine. So that was kind of my initiation to griddling. And then Weber and Traeger, two of the world's biggest grill companies, both simultaneously came out with stand-up griddles. These griddles that look like gas grills, but in fact are flat tops. Well, light bulb went off. Steven Raichlen, this is not something just you like, but this is going to be an enormous trend. So I started writing Project Griddle.
That's awesome. And yes, absolutely. We've seen those everywhere. And so the question I have for you, which you started to answer with some of these specific examples that are leaving my producer and I kind of drooling here in the room as we have this conversation. Why would you talk to somebody about, like my husband, let's say, and try and convert them? Maybe not converting, that's not the right word, but to encourage them to include the griddle in their cooking repertoire.
Okay, very good. Well, let's start with some foods that are very popular, but you just can't cook on a grill. And the list begins with breakfast, right? It's pretty hard to cook a fried egg on a grill. It's very hard to cook a pancake on a grill. But breakfast is really only the beginning. I mean, think about a very delicate fish or fried rice, right? The kind of classic of Chinese and Japanese cooking.
Sure.
These are cooked on a griddle. So what I would say is, griddle next to your grill doubles your cooking power, doubles the fun.
You're saying you can do all kinds of amazing things on a griddle. And breakfast is my favorite meal of the day, of course, but there are other options, right?
Breakfast is just the beginning,
Yeah.
and as you thumb through my book Project Griddle, uh, you will find desserts like a peppered pineapple, where I dredge fresh pineapple slices in granulated sugar that is spiked up with freshly ground black pepper, griddled in butter, and served with a mezcal flavored whipped cream. Now, mezcal, of course, is the cousin of tequila that has a
Hmm.
smoky flavor because the cactus hearts are roasted in underground pits. So that's a spectacular dessert. What else can you do? Well, sandwiches,
Yeah.
whole
And
chapter on sandwiches.
my favorite
Um,
sandwich in the entire world is a grilled cheese, and you
yep.
have a grilled cheese recipe, and then also a croque monsieur that kind of threw me over the edge.
Well, the croque monsieur is kind of fun. That's a classic of French bistros and cafes,
Yeah.
and basically, it's a grilled cheese sandwich with a layer of bechamel sauce on top. And there's a slice of ham in the with the cheese too. But what I did is I put the bechamel inside the sandwich instead of on top of the sandwich, so you get that same luscious contrast of the crunchy toast, the meaty ham, the melty cheese, and the succulent, oozy bechamel sauce, but it's on the inside.
One of
Ye
the difficulties of talking to a master chef such as yourself on radio is that we can't. We're over here just sort of fantasizing. It's amazing.
yeah, well, I bet you're getting hungry. I'm not sure
Yeah,
that.
that's definitely what is happening. We're really excited about your appearance coming up in Fort Wayne. You'll be up in Fort Wayne with PBS Fort Wayne on Sunday,
Mhm,
August 17th.
mhm.
And I did want to ask a question because you've spent your career working in public media. You're working with WFWA. They recently had to let go of several of their staff because of this current moment that we find ourselves in. And as a career public media personality, I wanted to ask your thoughts about that.
Well, I'm deeply saddened by the new turn of events. I, I think it hurts America in the long run. I think it makes us less richer, less diverse.
Hmm.
Shows like mine, if you enjoy my Project Smoke or Project Fire or Planet Barbecue TV shows, it's going to be harder to see shows like that. And I think it's very sad. And, I think now it becomes even more incumbent on listeners and viewers to help support your public media stations because the government isn't going to do it. But America will be a poorer, sadder place because of it.
Right. And the interesting thing to note as well is that shows like yours are general interest shows, and the fact that when the funding for those types of experiences is cut, kind of everybody loses in that atmosphere.
Everybody loses. You're right.
Yeah.
Everybody loses.
Yeah.
So support your local public media station. And hopefully, we will be able to continue our mission of to educate and inform and entertain.
And make life more delicious as well.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Stephen, what's going to happen at your event in Fort Wayne on the 17th?
Well, I'm going to give a talk on griddling, and I'm going to give a talk on the history of the griddle, which is very interesting,
Hmm.
and of griddles around the world, which is even more interesting because there are three great griddling cultures in the world. They are Japan with its teppan, Spain with its plancha, and the good old United States with our greasy spoon griddles.
Hmm.
But also, there are dozens of other countries around the world that do have griddling cultures. So um, I hope to whet people's appetites. And of course, I'm not just going to talk about griddling. You're going to get to eat.
I was going to
There's
ask
a been
about that because that would
Yeah,
be
you're going
kind
to
of
get to
cruel.
eat. No, no, no. You're going to get to eat. There's a beautiful menu that has been prepared and will be served at the event. Uh, Also, a book signing. I think the price of admission includes one of my books, and I will be there to sign books and take photos. And last time I was in Fort Wayne, I really had a ball. You have a beautiful path along the river, as I
Hmm.
remember
Oh, yes.
correctly. And I rented a bike, and I must have biked for 10 miles, and that was really fun. So I'm looking for, plus also people in the Midwest are just nicer than people on the East Coast where I live. So
Hey, you said
I
it.
look forward to that too.
Your book is just lovely. I mean, just the beautiful full color photographs and just incredible recipes throughout. So we're really excited that you're coming to visit our part of the world. Steven Raichlen is a PBS host and food writer. His latest cookbook is called Project Griddle, and he'll be with our friends at PBS Fort Wayne on Sunday, August 17th. I'm Jen Blackmer. This is Pop of Culture, and we'll be back after this from IPR. You found us. It's Pop of Culture. I'm Jen Blackmer.
And I'm Kara DuQuette. It's time for our regular segment called What Are You Working On? This week, we're listening back to our interview with the amazing Carol Burt. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Carol is a retired Muncie Community School teacher. She also taught at Ball State University. She's a ceramicist and a mixed media artist, and she's an Indiana artisan living in Muncie, Indiana.
Yes.
I wanted to start out by saying a quote that I read that you made and going from there.
Okay.
I'm known more as a potter than a painter, but the success from my pottery comes from my training as a painter. Painting was my first love, and when I realized I could apply those skills to my thrown forms, I ended up with the best of both worlds. I love that, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how the realization came to merge those loves and how it's manifested in your work.
Well, it was kind of an accident that I came onto pottery. I had finished my master's degree and I was teaching, and I needed to update my teaching license. And I had taken so many watercolor courses that I needed something different, and I decided to take this 6-hour class that was a week at Ball State and a week at Dale Hollow. And once I started throwing, I never looked back. It was so much fun, and it wasn't really difficult for me. Then the challenge of trying to draw or paint on pottery that's where it merged, where I was able to use my painting skills and my drawing skills on my thrown forms.
So you said you studied at Ball State and Del Hollow?
That was a Ball State teacher. She was offering a special workshop. She had a 3-story log home at Dale Hollow. So we worked for a week here in the studio at Ball State, and then we went to Dale Hollow, and we water skied. We went on the pontoon at night. She had a hot tub. We worked all day, and then we played at night, and it was one of the best classes I ever took.
I feel like I can see what you just described in your work because there's so many fun animals. Well, you've brought some of your work in for us to look at today, and it's just amazing. We see some sculptures and some cups and other vessels. Also, you've brought some drawings and paintings. Can you talk a little bit about them? You have a very colorful palette.
Yes, I think a lot of that just comes from working with kids. I think that's my biggest inspiration. As an artist, you end up drawing and painting things you know about, and having worked with kids and trying to come up with things for them to do in class, they inspire me just as much as I inspired them, and they use a lot of color. I have a habit of drawing in the morning. When I was teaching, I would get up at 4:30, and I would draw for an hour and a half before I got ready for school. And so I have stacks of sketchbooks at home, and I still use them. Like I have one in my car that I was using this morning from 2014. But I would just get up in the morning and doodle. Or I would think of things that maybe my students could do. I guess I was trying to keep ideas fresh for them. So I'm not a person who sits down and sketches what I see. I just sketch from my imagination. And then it ends up turning into something. And I might come back to it 10 years later. I did a painting the other day that came from a really old sketch.
Oh, I love that. Carol brought in a sketchbook with her today, and it is just filled with fun images. And it's fun to look at what you were doing at some point in the past and see if it's something that strikes your fancy currently.
Yeah, that's true. I did a painting the other day based on an old sketch that I hadn't looked at for years. And when I looked at it again, it was like it was all new to me, and I thought it had possibilities.
I want to know, now you say do you still sketch every morning?
Well, now that I'm retired, you'd think I'd sketch more often, but I don't get up at 4:30, and that was reserved time for sketching. So I think I make art every day.
Nice.
I have a studio in my on the second floor of my house for painting, and then I have a studio in the backyard for pottery.
Okay. So is your studio outside?
Yes. Okay. My husband and my son built the studio. I have an amazing view to the west, so and there's no houses. So for at least a mile, so I get to see the sunset at night. And it's kind of interesting too, because now that I've been retired, things you didn't notice, you notice a lot more in nature. So the sun sets behind one woods in the summer solstice, and then in the winter solstice. No, wait a minute. Solstice or equinox? Where am I at there? Equinox. Yeah. It sets behind a different woods, and I can watch it set all along that line.
Wow. Do you feel like your different pace has had an effect on your artwork?
Definitely. Yeah, I have more time to think things through. Yeah, I spend a lot of time looking at things where before I was in too much of a hurry.
How is that shown up, like in your work?
Well, I think it's shown up in the amount that I'm producing. I have probably hundreds of paintings upstairs that are just in stacks. And I've gone back and finished things. I've had things sitting in a drawer for a couple of years, and I keep having conversations with them. I'll set them out so that when I walk into the family room in the morning, I see them. It's like I'm seeing them for the first time. And those conversations help me to finish them up.
I love that. I really do. Because sometimes you make something and it's been long ago. And you're like, did I make that?
Yeah.
And you kind of have to get to know it again and remember.
Yeah. And sometimes you're surprised. It's good. Did I actually do that?
Yes. Well, I was also wondering, are you showing your work anywhere around town?
Yes, I have work at Gordy's. I've been with them for, probably close to 20 years. And Jenny Gordy encouraged me to apply for Indiana Artisan. And I've been with that organization since 2008. So I do have a show coming up in March at the State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, an Indiana Artisan show.
Excellent. So we could find you there.
Yes.
I have to say, since you mentioned Jenny Gordy, she was my art teacher.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I'm very lucky and was very encouraging.
Yes.
Always. Well, I really appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's calendar time, Kara.
Love
you ready?
that time. I'm ready.
All right. So we've covered some kid-friendly exhibits at Minnetrista Museum and Gardens in today's show. Something slightly more grown up. A collections tour this Thursday, August 14th, will take you on a trip without even leaving Muncie. Archivist Susan Smith and collections manager Mindy Price will guide you through travel-themed artifacts in the Minnetrista Heritage Collection. Explore items that are not currently on public display and gain a deeper understanding of the historical significance behind them. Information is at minnetrista.net.
Okay, I love a behind-the-scenes
I
kind
know,
of scenario.
right?
If you need an excuse to dance in public,
Do you need an excuse?
I don't know. I don't think you do.
I ever need an excuse, but let's do it anyway.
If you do need an excuse to dance in public, Stella Luna will be performing today's hits on the Civic Green in downtown Yorktown, Friday, August 8th, starting at 7:30. Lawn chairs are welcome, but dance shoes are required. The concert is open to the public.
This weekend is the last weekend to see the annual juried art show at the Clark Gallery at the Honeywell Center in Wabash. Every year, a new theme challenges artists to push their creativity, and this year's open-ended theme is Seasons. The show is open through August 13th, and there is a reception on the 13th. Information can be found at honeywellcenter.org. Kara, what makes plants grow? Before you answer, find out at the Muncie Children's Museum this Saturday, August 9th at 11 a.m. This is the end of the museum's summer gardening program and will include a lesson from a Purdue master gardener complete with activity. The program will last approximately 30 minutes. Information is at munciemuseum.com.
That sounds really interesting.
It does.
Well, looking ahead to next week, Hairspray brings the beat to Muncie Civics Theater main stage starting Friday, August 15th and running through August 31st. Take a trip to 1960s Baltimore and follow Tracy Turnblad as she fights for inclusion, equality, and a spot on her favorite TV dance show. Tickets are at munciecivic.org.
And the Muncie Three Trails music series continues with Blue Moon Marquis on Saturday, August 16th. Blue Moon Marquis writes and performs original compositions influenced by, and this is a quote, anything that swings, jumps, or grooves. The band pulls different parts of their musical worlds together, taking the tones of early blues, the expressions of jazz, the heart of country, the spirit of folk, the swagger of soul, and the rhythm of rock and roll. All these elements will be combined next Saturday at Cannon Commons. And the concert, as always, is open to the public.
If you have an event that swings, jumps, or grooves, let us know about it at indianapublicradio.org/contact and select Pop of Culture.
Support for Pop of Culture comes from you. You've probably heard that Congress has defunded public media. For Ball State Public Media, that's 40% of our funding, about $1.4 million. So if you value this program, created by and focused on folks in your community, then now's the time to step up. This show will not exist without you. Become a monthly donor now at indianapublicradio.org.
And that's our show. Our general manager is Phil Hoffman, and special thanks to Sean Ashcraft for keeping us sounding great. This week was produced by Luke Jones, who is not afraid of the dark, as long as he has a nightlight. And our show was hosted by me, Jen Blackmer.
And me, Kara DuQuette. Pop of Culture is a production from IPR on the campus of Ball State University.